Wayne the Train and Maya are engaged in a close contest with Greninja and Mirasol for 8th place, with all 4 cars maintaining pressure on each other. Meanwhile, Elite 403 is also involved in the battle for 9th place alongside Wayne the Train and Maya. Further back, Kazushug and Tomatone in Red Panama are locked in a tight fight for 12th place. The dynamics are shifting quickly as each racer looks to gain an advantage. Hey Wayne the Train. I see you're bringing some serious energy to the chat with those emotes. It looks like we're in for an exciting race at the Seattle circuit. Right now, we're just starting lap 1 hour 60, so there's still plenty of time for action. Who are you rooting for in this race? Hey, Elite for 403. It does seem like Maya has a way of keeping the competition lively, doesn't she? Wayne the Train might have to keep his focus sharp if he wants to stay ahead. Let's see how it all plays out as we dive deeper into this race. Who are you rooting for? Elite 403 has made an advancement, moving up 1 position to 9th place. Meanwhile, Butchie Zero is also progressing, gaining 1 spot to reach 20th place. Aetion 1792 and Amy are now battling for 5th place. Aetion 1792 has moved ahead, taking that position. Amin-san is closely trailing behind, putting pressure on Amy as they jockey for position. Over in 17th place, Issy 1212 and Barbado are engaged in a similarly fierce contest, both attempting to gain the upper hand. Greninja and Mirasol have each advanced 1 position, now in 7th place. Buchicero is significantly closing in on Jasek 72, cutting the time gap down by 1.1 seconds. Aetion 1792 and Amy have successfully moved up 1 position, now holding 4th place. The battle for that position is tight with Ariu Serial, Bot Crash Tappen, and both Aetion 1792 and Amy closely contesting for it. As they jostle for space, it's crucial to watch how they navigate the upcoming corners. Red Panama is driving a 2012 Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, known for its powerful V12 engine and impressive performance on the track. Currently, Red Panama is in 13th place after starting from 11th. They have set a fastest lap of 2 minutes and 22.298 seconds, which indicates they may be facing challenges in improving the position as they are not capitalizing on their previous starting spot. Wayne the Train and Maya have successfully overtaken 3 cars and are now in 7th place. Aetion 1792 and Amy have gained 1 position, moving up to 4th place. there is a tight battle unfolding for 7th place among Grey Ninja, Mirasol, Wayne the Train, and Maya. Red Panama has decreased the gap with Huggard 3 and Baker Joranen by 1.1 seconds. Meanwhile, Kokibaninati and Project Ashana are also making progress, closing in on Duffdad and Edelbog, similarly cutting down the distance by 1.1 seconds. Okiuki 3 is currently in 3rd place, driving the 2018 Ferrari F8 Tributo. Starting from a low position of 19th, Okiuki has made significant progress up the field with a fastest lap time of 2 minutes and 3.650 seconds. The pace appears to be strong as they continue to capitalize on opportunities ahead. Wayne the Train and Maya have both advanced 2 positions to 5th place. Tankamnin 704 has gained 1 position and is now in 8th place. The Feds is currently in 1st place and has established the fastest lap at 2 minutes and 0.406 seconds, showing strong pace. It's crucial for him to maintain this lead, as the competition behind is gaining ground. Lord of the Jungle in 2nd position, started 7th, and is closing in, but will need to push harder to challenge for the lead. The race dynamics could shift quickly as lap traffic and strategy come into play. The Seattle circuit's layout features sharp turns and elevation changes, which are challenging for drivers. The current standings show that cars with better handling, like the Ferrari F8 Tributo, are performing well. Drivers starting further back have struggled to gain positions, indicating the track rewards strong qualifying times and precise driving skills. Overall, the circuit is favoring those who can navigate its complexities effectively. The modern street cars class combined with the Seattle circuit is promoting a competitive race, as the track's technical layout and elevation changes favor high-performance vehicles like the Ferrari F8 Tributo. Drivers are leveraging the agility of these cars for overtakes and maintaining tight racing lines. The faster lap times of top contenders indicate that they are effectively utilizing the car's strengths in cornering and acceleration on the straights. Current standings reflect skillful navigation through the circuit's challenges. Red Panama is driving a 2012 Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, which is known for its powerful V12 engine and quick acceleration. Currently positioned in 13th place, Red Panama started the race in 11th position but has dropped 2 places. The fastest lap recorded for their car is 2 minutes and 6.945 seconds. The performance indicates a struggle compared to some competitors, particularly as they are trailing behind several Lamborghinis and Ferraris. Elite 403 is now just 2 seconds behind Tenkamine 74, continuing to close the gap. Bucci has successfully moved up to 19th place after overtaking a competitor. The modern street cars class is benefiting from the high-speed straights and technical corners of the Seattle circuit, allowing drivers to maximize their vehicle's performance. The aerodynamics and acceleration of the 2018 Ferrari F8 Tributo are playing a crucial role in the top positions, especially with its competitive lap times. The track's layout also favors drivers with good cornering abilities, impacting overall race dynamics and overtakes. The modern street cars class, combined with the Seattle circuit, offers a balance of power and handling, favoring cars with good acceleration and cornering capabilities. The tight corners of this track highlight the importance of braking efficiency and traction. The top contenders are showcasing this balance well, particularly with strong lap times from the Ferrari models and the Lamborghini. Qualifying position also plays a vital role, as seen with the drivers moving up through the field after starting further back. Overall, strategy and driver skill are crucial in this dynamic setting. Tenkamine 704 has successfully moved up 2 spots, securing 7th place. Red Panama is closing the gap on Hug 3 and Baker Joran, reducing the distance by 2.4 seconds. Bucci advances 1 position into 18th place. Winzeria Sky, driving the 2010 Gembala Mirage GT, is currently in 15th place. The Gembala Mirage GT is known for its impressive aerodynamic design and lightweight carbon fiber construction, which enhances speed and handling. Despite starting in 22nd position, he has managed to gain some ground, but currently shows a slower fastest lap time of 2 minutes 11.378 seconds, indicating challenges with pace compared to the leaders. Tenkamine 74 has decreased the time gap to Wayne the Train, now trailing by 1.4 seconds. Red Panama is making progress against Huggard 3, cutting the distance down by 1.3 seconds. Gary Z has advanced 1 position and is now in 15th place. Tenkamine 704 is now just 1.5 seconds behind Wayne the Train Maya, showcasing an impressive pace. Red Panama is also making significant progress, cutting the gap to Huggard 3 Baker Joran by 1.8 seconds. Meanwhile, Jasek 72 has improved their position by 1 spot, now in 19th place. Lord of the Jungle is now just 1.5 seconds behind FK Thekfifids, and maintaining a steady pace. Arayu Serial and Bok Crush Tappen are also making advances on Okyokai 3, cutting the gap down by 1.33 seconds. Meanwhile, Tenkaman 704 is closing in on Wayne the Train, who is being piloted by Maya, decreasing that gap by 1 second. The race is tightening up as positions shift. Arayu Serial and Bok Crash Tappen have both advanced one position, now sitting in third place. Tenkaman 704 is gaining on Wayne the Train and Maya, cutting the distance by 2.5 seconds. Tenkaman 704 is now just 1.6 seconds behind Wayne, the Train and Maya, closing in steadily. Katsushuk and Antimatone are also gaining on Red Panama, cutting the gap by 1.1 seconds. Meanwhile, ISI 1212 has made a strong move, advancing 2 spots into 16th place. Tenkaman 704 is now just 2 seconds behind Wayne the Train, indicating a potential challenge for position. Red Panama has advanced 1 spot, and is currently in 12th place. Hugot 3, Baker Gironi and Red Panama are engaged in a close battle for 12th position, with all 3 drivers vying for an advantage. ISI 1212 is driving a 2010 Gambella Mirage GT, which is known for its high-performance features and sleek design. Currently, ISI 1212 is positioned in 16th place. Starting from 14th, they have fallen back 2 positions in the race. Their fastest lap time stands at 2 minutes 11.613 seconds, indicating that they are relatively slower than some competitors in the higher positions. Okyokai 3 is now just 1.7 seconds behind Arayu Serial Bot Crash Tappen as they continue to battle for 3rd place. Meanwhile, Aetion 1792 and I'm closing in on Okyokai 3, cutting the gap down to 1 second. The dynamics are shifting as these positions remain highly contested. Okyokai 3 advances 1 spot to claim 3rd place. Aetion 1792 and Amy also gain a position, moving to 4th place. Wayne the Train and Maya are making progress on Arayu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen, closing the gap by 1.6 seconds. Wayne the Train and Maya are now just 2.8 seconds behind Arayu Serial Bot Crash Tappen as they close in steadily. Meanwhile, Aminsan is also making progress, reducing the gap to Tenkaman 74 by 2.8 seconds. Both battles are intensifying as the race progresses. Amundsen is currently in 9th place and has significantly reduced the gap to 10.74, now just 3.1 seconds behind. Red Panama is gaining on Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149, cutting the distance by 1.1 seconds. Meanwhile, Buchizero is making progress on Bobardo, decreasing the gap by 1.6 seconds. Okioki 3 is now just 2.2 seconds behind Lord of the Jungle, continuing to gain ground. Kenka Menin 704 is approaching Wayne the Train, cutting the gap down by 1.9 seconds. Red Panama is also making progress, closing in on Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 with a reduction of 1.4 seconds. Gary Z is now just 5.3 seconds behind Koki Bainaninti and Project Ashina, continuing to close that gap. Red Panama is making progress as well, cutting the distance to Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 by 1.9 seconds. The race dynamics are tightening up. Tenka Menin 704 has now narrowed the gap to Wayne the Train, decreasing it by 1 second. Meanwhile, Gary Z is also making progress, cutting down the distance to Koki Bainadi by 2.7 seconds. Aetion 1792 and Amy are now only 1 second behind Okioki 3 with a strong pace. Meanwhile, Greninjib and Mirasol are also gaining on Amundsen, cutting the gap down by 140 seconds. Gary Z is making significant progress towards Koki Baninity and Project Ashina, reducing their distance by 2.9 seconds. This is tightening up the race dynamics. Aetion 1792, Amy and Okiokai 3 are engaged in a close contest for 3rd place. Aryu Serial and Balkrash Tapan are narrowing the distance to Aetion 1792 and Amy by 3.2 seconds. Meanwhile, Hoka 3 and Baker Joran are catching up to Red Panama, decreasing their gap by 1.9 seconds. Gary Z has reduced the gap to Koki Bainani and Project Ashina by 5.2 seconds. Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 have both moved up 1 position to take 10th place. Red Panama is narrowing the gap to Elite 403, now reducing it by 1.1 seconds. Wayne the Train and Maya are now just 2.1 seconds behind Araya's serial and bot crash happen. Elite 403 has moved up one position to take 10th place. Red Panama is also making gains, narrowing the gap to Kamikaze 38 and Black Mister 149 by 2.5 seconds. Tanker Manin 704 has advanced one position to take 6th place. Amundsen is catching up to Wayne the Train, also known as Maya, decreasing the gap by 1.4 seconds. Gary Z is gaining on Koki Benignity, cutting down the distance by 2.9 seconds. Amundsen is now just 1.7 seconds behind Wayne the Train, who is currently in 7th place. Kamikaze 38 and Black Mister 149 have both moved up one position, with Kamikaze 38 now holding 10th place. Huggett 3 and Baker Jordan are now just 1.7 seconds behind Red Panama, applying pressure for an overtaking opportunity. At the same time, Gary Z is catching up to Koki Bainini and Project Ashina, decreasing the gap by 2.6 seconds. Green Ninja and Nearasol are continuing their pursuit of Amundsen, with the gap now trimmed down to 1.3 seconds. Huggett 3 and Baker Duran are also gaining on Red Panama, decreasing their distance by 1.5 seconds. Meanwhile, Gary Z is closing in on Koki Baininity and Project Ashina, reducing the gap by 2.4 seconds. The race positions and dynamics are shifting as these competitors push forward. Wayne the Train and Maya are now just 1.8 seconds behind Tenkamin 74, applying pressure. Kamikaze 38 and Black Mister 149 have decreased their gap to Grenija Binira Sol by 3.2 seconds, indicating a strong pursuit. Hugas 3 and Baker Joran are also making strides, cutting their distance to Red Panama by 1.4 seconds. The race dynamics are intensifying. Amundsen is now just 2 seconds behind Wayne the Train, who is currently racing alongside Maya Dlod. Red Panama has decreased the gap to Elite 403 by 1.3 seconds, indicating a potential challenge ahead. Koki Benignity and Project Eshina have also made headway on Rizaldiata, bringing the gap down by 1.7 seconds. Overtakes could be imminent if these momentum shifts continue. Red Panama is now just 1.6 seconds behind Elite 403, applying consistent pressure. Meanwhile, Gary Z is making significant progress as well, cutting down the gap to Koki Bainity and Project Ashina by 3.5 seconds. Amundsen is now just 1.2 seconds behind Wayne the Train, which indicates a considerable effort to catch up. Meanwhile, Gary Z has decreased the gap to Koki Baninity by 2.5 seconds, showing strong pace as well. Amundsen is now just 1.1 seconds behind Wayne the Train, who is currently in 6th place. Gary Z is also making progress, cutting the gap to Koki Baninity by 1.6 seconds as he battles for 8th place. Both competitors are showing strong pace as we continue to monitor their progress. Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 have effectively reduced the gap to Greningib and Nira Sol by 2 seconds. Gary Z is also gaining on Koki Baninanti and Project Ashane, closing the distance by 2.2 seconds. It looks like there could be some competitive action coming up as these drivers push forward. Amundsen is now just behind Wayne the Train, cutting the gap to 1 second. Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 are also making strides, closing the distance to Greningib by 2.9 seconds. Red Panama has gained 1 position, now in 11th place. Tankerman in 704 is currently in 6th place, and has set the fastest lap with a time of 20.1658. This indicates strong pace that his position suggests he will need to overtake several drivers to capitalize on his speed. Maintaining consistency and avoiding mistakes will be key for him to gain ground in the race. Tankerman 704 has reduced the gap to Arayu Serial by 1.1 seconds, positioning themselves closer. Meanwhile, Greningib and Nira Sol are closing in on Amundsen, also cutting their gap by 1.2 seconds. Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 have made similar progress, decreasing their distance to Greningib and Nira Sol by 1.2 seconds as well. The race is tightening up as these competitors push forward. Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 have successfully reduced the gap to Greningib and Nira Sol by 1.4 seconds. Kazashuk and Antimatone are also making progress, closing in on Hugget and Baker Jorani with a similar reduction of 1.4 seconds. Meanwhile, Gary Z has decreased the distance to Koki Bainadi and Project Ashina by 2.6 seconds. The race is intensifying as these drivers push to catch their competitors. Gary Z is reducing the gap to Koki Bainati and Project Ashina by 5.3 seconds, indicating strong pace. Lord of the Jungle is also gaining on FK Thefeds with a reduction of 1.2 seconds. Meanwhile, Tankerman 704 is closing in on Arayu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen, cutting the gap by 1.1 seconds as well. The competition is tightening up across several battles. Aetion 1792 and Amy have moved up one spot into third place. Ariu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen have also gained one position, now in fourth place. Ray of Panama is reducing the gap to Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 by 1.6 seconds. Tenka Mini 704 has advanced one position and is now in fifth place. Weighing the train alongside, Maya has also moved up one position to sixth place. Amundsen is gaining speed, moving up one spot to claim seventh place. Jasak 72 is driving a 2010 Bentley Continental GT, known for its luxurious features and powerful performance from its twin turbocharged W12 engine. Currently, Jasak 72 is in 17th place, struggling to gain positions after starting from 20th. The fastest lap time recorded is 2:12:32.7, indicating there may be room for improvement. Bakdefeds has dropped back 11 positions and is currently in 12th place. Arayu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen have gained one position each, now occupying third place. Tenka Mini 704 has also advanced one position, moving into fourth place. Arayu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen have both advanced two positions, and are now in first place. Tenka Mini 704 has also moved up two spots and is currently in second place. Weighing the train and Maya have gained one position each, now occupying fourth place. Aetion 1792 and Amy are currently in 13th place, having dropped back 10 positions. Amundsen has made a strong move up, gaining two spots to occupy third place. Meanwhile, Greninjeb and Nira Sol have also gained two positions and are now in fourth place. Amundsen is now 2.1 seconds behind Tenka Mini 704, closing the gap effectively. Kazishuk and Antimatone have both advanced one position, with Kazishuk now in 8th place. Bakdefeds has also improved by one position, and is now in 9th place. Hey everyone! Great to see you all chatting about the strategy in this race. It looks like those Ferraris will indeed be on a 3-stop strategy, which could give them some interesting dynamics as the race progresses. And as for the Dallara, it's definitely possible that it can pull off a 1-stop strategy with the pace it's showing. Tenka Mini 704 is currently in 2nd place and has the fastest lap so far. If they can stretch out their fuel and tires, they might just have an advantage towards the end of the race. Who are you all rooting for? Oki Oki 3 is now just 9.6 seconds behind Lord of the Jungle, indicating a significant pace advantage. Tenka Mini 704 has reduced the gap to a Ryu serial, Bot Crashed Happen by 1.2 seconds, showing a steady approach. Meanwhile, Kamikaze 38, Black Mistone 149, and Greninja the 14 near Asol are engaged in a close battle for 4th place, which could lead to some exciting overtaking opportunities. Jasek 72 is now in close pursuit of Wayne, the Train and Maya, decreasing the gap to 9.1 seconds. Tenkamen 704 is gaining on Arayu Serial and Bot Crashed Happen, shrinking the distance by 2.5 seconds. Back Fairfids is also advancing towards Kadishuk and Antimatone, cutting the gap by 3.9 seconds. Aminsun has successfully moved into 2nd place. Greninja and Nira Sol have also made an advancement, now occupying 3rd place. Meanwhile, Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 have moved up to 4th place. The race is intensifying as positions shift. Tenkamen 74 is now in 12th place after dropping 7 positions. Red Panama has gained 1 position and is now in 5th place. Elite 403 has also moved up 1 spot and currently holds the 6th place position. Kamikaze 38, Black Mistone 149, and Greninja are locked in a close battle for 3rd place. Okioki 3 is steadily closing the gap to Lord of the Jungle, now reduced by 1.3 seconds. Meanwhile, Wayne the Train and Maya have decreased their gap to Issy 1212 by 3.2 seconds. Racing dynamics remain intense as these drivers jockey for position. Aetion 1792 and Amy have advanced 1 position to take 10th place. There is a close battle between Okio K3 and Amy for that same 10th place, with both drivers vying for an advantage. Meanwhile, Wayne the Train and Maya are gaining on Issy 1212, cutting the gap down by 2.9 seconds as they push forward. Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 have both moved up 1 spot to take 3rd place. Lord of the Jungle is closing the gap with FGAC Thiefeds, reducing it by 1.8 seconds. Wayne the Train, Maya, and Issy 1212 are engaged in a close battle for 13th place. Kazishuk and Antimatone have both made impressive progress, overtaking 3 cars to reach 4th place. Meanwhile, Red Panama is facing difficulties, dropping 9 positions to sit in 14th place. Elite 403 is making steady progress as well, moving up 1 spot to take 5th place. Elite 403 has dropped back 9 positions and is currently in 14th place. Fekte Feds is making progress, advancing 2 spots to 4th place. Lord of the Jungle is also gaining ground, moving up 1 position to 6th place. Amundsen has taken the lead, moving up 1 position to 1st place. Lord of the Jungle is also advancing, now in 5th place after gaining 1 spot. Aetion 1792 and Amy have both improved their positions, now sitting together in 6th place with a 1 spot gain. Back the Feds has advanced 1 position to take 3rd place. Lord of the Jungle has also gained 1 spot, now sitting in 4th place. Aetion 1792 and Amy have moved up 1 position each, now sharing 5th place. FK Feds is now in 1st place after gaining 2 positions. Lord of the Jungle has also moved up 2 spots to secure 2nd place. Aetion 1792 and Amy have both advanced 2 positions, placing us in 3rd. Aetion in 1792 and Amy have decreased the gap to Lord of the Jungle to 2.1 seconds. Amundsen and Tankerman in 704 remain in a close fight for 6th place. Duff Dad and Edelbach are also gaining on Koki Binety and Project Ashna, closing the gap by 1.9 seconds. Riniet and Near Soul are rapidly reducing the gap to Kamikaze 38 and Blackmistone 149, now only 1.9 seconds behind. Red Panama is making significant progress on ISI 1212, cutting the gap down by 3.1 seconds. Meanwhile, Hugard 3 and Baker Geron have both moved up 1 position, now occupying 14th place. Okioki 3 is indeed closing in on Arayu Serial and Bot Crashed Happen, with a gap reduction of 3.5 seconds. Wayne the Train and Maya have both advanced 1 position, currently sitting in 9th place. Meanwhile, Red Panama is also gaining on ISI 1212, cutting the gap down by 2.9 seconds. Aetion 1792 and Amy have reduced the gap to Lord of the Jungle by 3.8 seconds and are gaining ground. Red Panama is also making progress, closing in on ISI 1212, now just 2.3 seconds behind. Meanwhile, Gary Z is narrowing the gap to Duff Dad and Edelbach by 2.2 seconds. Race dynamics are shifting as these competitors intensify their pursuit. Aetion 1792 and Amy are approaching Lord of the Jungle, now just 3.1 seconds behind. Weighing the train, Maya, Kamikaze 38, and Blackmistone, 149 are engaged in a close battle for 8th place. Elite 403 is making gains on Red Panama, shrinking the gap to 2.9 seconds. Serial and Bot Crash Happen are now just 2.4 seconds behind 81-17-92 and me, Amy. Red Panama has gained 1 position, moving up to 11th place. The battle for 11th place between ISI 12-12 and Red Panama is heating up as they remain closely matched. Serial and Bot Crash Happen have both advanced 1 position, now occupying 3rd place. Elite 403 is narrowing the gap to ISI 12-12, reducing it by 1.2 seconds. Jazak 72 has also moved up 1 position, now in 16th place. Area Serial and Bot Crash Happen are now just 3.2 seconds behind Lord of the Jungle. Meanwhile, Gary Z is also making progress, closing the gap to Duff Dad and Edelbot by 2.5 seconds. The race is tightening up as drivers push for better positions. Arayu Serial and Bot Crash Happen are approaching Lord of the Jungle, now just 1.7 seconds behind. Red Panama is also making progress, cutting down the distance to Green Ijab and Urasol by 1 second. Arayu Serial and Bot Crash Happen are now just 2.6 seconds behind Lord of the Jungle, applying pressure as they close in. Meanwhile, Kazashukan and Tematone have reduced their gap to Hugger 3 by 1 second, indicating a potential for an overtake soon. Arayu Serial and Bot Crash Happen have successfully reduced the gap to Lord of the Jungle by 2.1 seconds. Meanwhile, Tenkamin 704 and Okioki 3 are engaged in a close battle for 5th place. Additionally, Hugot 3 and Baker Joraning are gaining on Elite 403, decreasing their gap by 1 second. Arayu Serial and Bot Crash Happen are gaining on Lord of the Jungle, with a reduced gap of 1.4 seconds. Tenka Menin 7 and 4 has advanced 1 place to 5th position. Elite 403 is reducing the distance to ISI 12-12 by 1.1 seconds. Hey everyone! It seems like we have some Lamborghini fans in the chat. Amin-san, your Lamborghini might be bringing it to game on the track right now. It's currently sitting in 7th place, and could make some moves as we progress through lap 26. And Wing the Train, not sure how the Kappa reference fits in here, but it definitely sounds like you're enjoying the vibes. Let's keep cheering for our drivers and see who can pull ahead. If anyone else wants to join the race, remember to type !race in chat to pick your car. Assetto 1792 and Amy have moved up to third place. They are now engaged in a close battle with Lord of the Jungle for second place. Meanwhile, Tenkaman 704 is gaining on Arayu Serial and Bot Crash Tappin, cutting the gap by 1/3 seconds. The competition is heating up. Tenkamini 704 is now just over 5 seconds behind Amy Toicho. Gary Z is also making progress, closing the gap to Rizaldi Adha by 7 seconds. Arya Serial and Bot Crash Tappin have both advanced one position to take third place. Tenkamani 704 is now just 2.7 seconds behind H1 1792, who was in 7th place. Elite 403 is making progress on ISI 1212, cutting the gap to 1.9 seconds. Gary Z is also gaining on Rizaldi Adha, with a reduction of 2.6 seconds. The race dynamics are tightening up as competitors push forward. Elite 403 has gained a position and is now in 12th place. ISI 1212 and Elite 403 remain locked in a close battle for the same position. Meanwhile, Winsirius Guy and Electromary are making significant progress, reducing the gap to Bukai Zero by 2.7 seconds. Aetion 1792, Amy, and Arayu Serial are engaged in a tight battle for third place. Okioka 3 is making progress on Tenkaminin 704, closing the gap by 1.3 seconds. Meanwhile, Kamikaze 38 and Black Mr. 149 are both reducing their distance to Amundsen by 1 second. Aetion 1792 and Amy have advanced one place to third position. Tenkaminin 704 has also moved up one spot to fourth position. Okioki 3 is gaining on Arayu Serial and Bot Crash Tappin, closing the gap by 1.7 seconds. Jet is currently in 10th place, while Amundsen is just ahead in 7th place. The gap between them is significant, which could give Greninja a challenge to overtake. Both drivers have had varied performances during the race, with different lap times, suggesting that Greninja may need a strategy shift or mistake from Amundsen to close that gap and create an overtaking opportunity. Both are racing aggressively, so it will be interesting to see if Greninja can mount a challenge in the remaining laps. Amundsen is now just 1.4 seconds behind Okiokai 3, as the gap continues to shrink. Hugged 3 and Bakajorane have both made progress, advancing one position and settling into 13th place. Katsushok and Antimatone have also gained ground, moving up one position to secure 14th place. Aetion 1792 and Amy are now just behind Lord of the Jungle, having closed the gap by 1.3 seconds. Amundsen is quickly approaching Okiokai 3, cutting the distance by 3.2 seconds. Meanwhile, One Serious Guy and Electric Murray are also gaining on Butchazero, reducing the deficit by 3 seconds. Aetion 1792 and Amy are now just behind Lord of the Jungle, with their gap diminished to a little over 1 second. Amundsen is also making progress, cutting the distance to Okiokai 3 down to about 1 second. Meanwhile, Elat 403 is steadily approaching Red Panama, reducing that gap to just under 1 second as well. The race is tightening up across multiple fronts. Elite 403 is now just 1.1 seconds behind Red Panama, continuing to apply pressure. Meanwhile, One Serious Guy and Electric Murray are gaining on Butchazero, cutting the gap by 1.5 seconds as they enter the next section of the track. The race dynamics are tightening up. Lord of the Jungle has decreased the gap to FGFX to 2.2 seconds, indicating a strong pursuit. Ariu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen are now just 1.1 seconds behind Tenkamin and Savan 04, showing signs of intent to overtake. Meanwhile, Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 are closing in on Amundsen, with a reduction of 3.3 seconds in their gap. The race dynamics are becoming increasingly competitive. Lord of the Jungle has significantly decreased the gap to FPFEC, now trailing by just 3.2 seconds. Array Serial and Botcrush Tappen are also making progress, cutting the distance to Tenkamin 704 by 2.9 seconds. Furthermore, Amundsen is gaining on Okioki 3, now only 1.8 seconds behind. Amazon is now only 2.1 seconds behind Okio Kai 3, making a significant push to catch up. Jazak 72 is also gaining ground on issue 1212, with a reduced gap of 1.2 seconds. Meanwhile, Koki Beninity and Project Ashen Hour are tightening the race against Duffdad and Edelbok, cutting their gap by 1.8 seconds. The dynamics are shifting as these drivers make their moves. Lord of the Jungle continues to close in on FDEC Thefeds, now trailing by only 5 seconds. Kamikaze 38 and Blackmistone 149 have both gained 1 position, moving into 7th place. Aminsan is currently engaged in a tight battle with Kamikaze 38 and Blackmistone 149 for that same 7th place. Lord of the Jungle is now just 1.6 seconds behind FP Theds, showing significant pace. Meanwhile, Greninja and Neerasol are also making strides towards Wayne the Train, cutting the gap down by 1.3 seconds. Gary Z is maintaining a steady charge towards Rizaldi Ada, reducing the distance by 3.8 seconds. The dynamics are shifting as these competitors press forward. Lord of the Jungle is now just 2:30 seconds behind Efek Thefits, indicating a strong push for an overtake. Greninjeb and Neurasol are also gaining on Wayne the Train, with the gap down to 3.9 seconds. Meanwhile, Duffdad and Edelbach have reduced their distance to Jasak 72 by 1.7 seconds, suggesting potential movement in position soon. Bujizero is driving a 2010 Gembala Mirage GT, which is known for its lightweight construction and powerful performance, featuring a significant boost in horsepower compared to standard models. Currently, Bujizero is in 22nd place, starting from 16th, showing a loss of positions during the race. The car's performance so far indicates it may be struggling to maintain pace in this competitive field. Kamikaze 38 and Blackmastone 149 have both made progress, now in 6th place. Aminsun is also climbing, currently holding 7th place. Wayne the Train and Maya are advancing together, now occupying 8th place. Red Panama has advanced one position to take 10th place. Elite 403 has also moved that one spot into 11th place. Hugoat 3 and Baker Joran have both gained one position and are now in 12th place. Tenkamin in 704 has moved up 2 spots and is now in 2nd place. Katsishok and Antimatone are catching up to Hagudfree and Baker Joran, cutting the gap by 1.2 seconds. Meanwhile, Jasak 72 is gaining on Issy 1212, closing the distance by 2 seconds. Kamini 7 Hor is now within striking distance of F Cake Theds, with the gap reduced to 2.5 seconds. Arayu Serial and Bakrash Tapin have gained 2 positions, placing them in 3rd position. Meanwhile, Kamikaze 38 and Blackmastone 149 have also advanced by 2 spots, now sitting in 4th position. Arayu Serial and Bakrash Tapin are now only 1 second behind Tankaman in 700, indicating strong pace. Katsishuk and Antimatone have successfully moved into 12th place. Okioki 3 has also gained a position, and is now in 13th place. Tenkaman in 704 is currently in 2nd place, and has set the fastest lap time at 1 minute 57.812 seconds. This indicates a strong pace, and if he maintains this speed, he may have a good chance to overtake Efek Thefits, who is leading. The gap between them will be crucial to watch as the race progresses. Tenkaminen 704 has taken the lead, now in first place. Arayu Serial and Bot Crush Tappen have both moved up one spot, now occupying second place. Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 have also advanced, securing third place. Backthief is now just seconds behind Elite 403, with a reduced gap of 1 second. Lord of the Jungle is also making progress, closing in on Ethic Theft by 2.1 seconds. Meanwhile, both Azurius Guy and Electric Marie are closing in on Butjai Zero, decreasing their gap by 1.9 seconds. Grininyep and Nirasol have both advanced by 1 position, now occupying 5th place. Red Panama has also gained a position, moving into 6th place. Elite 403 follows closely behind, moving up to 7th place as well. The race is getting more competitive in the midfield. Arayu Serial and Bot Crush Tappen are now within striking distance of Tenkaminen 704, with the gap narrowed to just 1.3 seconds. Flag Thief is also making a good push on Elite 403, closing the gap by 230 seconds. Meanwhile, Jasak 72 is gaining on ISI 1212, reducing that distance by 1.4 seconds. The race dynamics are shifting as competitors tighten their battles. Arayu Serial and Bot Crush Tappen are now just behind Tenkaminen 704, closing the gap effectively by 1.7 seconds. Bekthefeds has improved their position, moving up 1 spot to take 7th place. Meanwhile, Jasak 72 is gaining on ISI 1212, also reducing that gap by 1.7 seconds. Lord of the Jungle is now just 2.1 seconds behind Elite 403, showing solid pace. Meanwhile, Jasak 72 has also made progress, cutting down the gap to ISI 1212 by 1.1 seconds. The competition is tightening up. Arayu Serial and Bot Crush Tappen are now just 2.9 seconds behind Tenkaminen 74. Lord of the Jungle is also making progress, reducing the gap to Elite 403 by 3.3 seconds. Meanwhile, Wunzirius Guy and Electric Miri are cutting the distance to Butjasero by 1.5 seconds. Arayu Serial and Bot Crush Tappen are now quickly approaching Tenkaminen 704, with their gap decreased to 3.3 seconds. Lord of the Jungle is also gaining on Elite 403, cutting the distance by 2.9 seconds. Meanwhile, Okioki 3 is narrowing the gap to Wayne the Train, also known as Maya, bringing it down by 1 second. RAU Serial and Bot Crash Tappen are now just behind Tankerman in 7-4, having closed the gap by 2.6 seconds. Fact the Feds continues to gain on Red Panama, decreasing the distance by 2.9 seconds. Wayne the Train and Maya are also making progress, reducing their gap to Kazashuk and Antimatone by 2.4 seconds. Kamikaze 38 and Black Milestone 149 are now just slightly behind RAU Serial and Bot Crash Tappen, with a gap of only 1.1 seconds. Fact the Feds is making progress on Red Panama, cutting the gap down to 2.7 seconds. Meanwhile, Lord of the Jungle has reduced the distance to Elite 403 by 3.4 seconds. Kamikaze 38 and Black Milestone 149 are now just 2.3 seconds behind RAU Serial and Bot Crash Tappen, indicating a strong push to close the distance. Meanwhile, Lord of the Jungle has reduced the gap to Elite 403 by 3 seconds. In another intense battle, Wayne the Train and Maya are closing in on Kazishuk and Antimatone, cutting the gap by 2 seconds as they gain momentum. Kamikaze 38 and Black Milestone 149 have now decreased the gap to RAU Serial and Bot Crash Tappen by 2.7 seconds. Fact the Feds is also gaining on Red Panama, narrowing the distance by 2.5 seconds. Aetion 1792 and Amy are closing in on Lord of the Jungle, pulling the gap down by 1 second. Fact the Feds has made significant progress, now only 2.8 seconds behind Red Panama Bawardi. Lord of the Jungle is gaining on Elite 403, cutting the gap down by 1.6 seconds. Okioki 3 has advanced 1 position and is now in 12th place. Fact the Feds has advanced to 6th place, closely battling Red Panama for the same position. Lord of the Jungle is making progress towards Elite 403, cutting the gap down by 1.7 seconds. Lord of the Jungle has moved up 1 spot, and is now in 8th place. Aetion 1792 and Amy continue to close the gap on Elite 403, now reduced to 1.3 seconds. Huggy 3 and Baker Joran are also gaining on Kazishuk and Antimatone, with their gap down by 1.2 seconds. Gary Z is now just 5.1 seconds behind Rezaldi Ada and Suzanne Greenberg, continuing to gain ground. Lord of the Jungle has cut the gap to Red Panama by 3.4 seconds. Aetion 1792 and Amy are also closing in on Elite 403, with our gap reduced to 1.7 seconds. Ariel, Serial and Bot Crash Tappen are now just behind Tenkamin and 704, with their gap decreasing by 1.2 seconds. Lord of the Jungle is also gaining ground on Red Panama, cutting the gap by 1.1 seconds. Meanwhile, Aetion 1792 and Amy are closing in on Elite 403, reducing our distance by 1.3 seconds. The race is tightening up. Ariel, Serial and Bob Crash Tappen are now just 2.1 seconds behind Tenkamin in 7-4. Ethics has decreased the gap to Greninja than Mirasol by 1.6 seconds, showing good pace. Meanwhile, Lord of the Jungle is gaining on Red Panama, cutting the time difference by 3.6 seconds. Araya, Serial and Bob Crash Tappen are now just behind Tenkamin 704, having reduced their gap by 1.6 seconds. Lord of the Jungle is approaching Red Panama, cutting the distance by 2.30 seconds. Woon Series Guy and Electric Marie are also gaining on Bobardo, trimming their gap by 1.2 seconds. Each of these groups appears to be positioning themselves for potential overtakes. Araya, Serial and Bot Crash Tappen have reduced the gap to Tenkamin 704 by 3.4 seconds, putting pressure on that position. Meanwhile, Lord of the Jungle is gaining on Red Panama, cutting the distance by 3.9 seconds. Aetion 1792 and Amy have moved up one spot to take 9th place. Defense has reduced the gap to Greninja and Mirasol by 1.7 seconds. Wayne the Train and Maya are now 2 seconds behind Elite 403. Rosarius Guy and Electric Marie are also gaining on Bobardo, cutting the gap by 2.4 seconds. Lord of the Jungle has advanced to 7th place, while Aetion 1792 and Amy have both gained a position, now in 8th place. The race is becoming more competitive as these racers continue to push forward. Araya, Serial and Bot Crash Tappen have encountered difficulties and are now in 8th place after dropping 6 positions. Kamikaze 38 has gained a spot and is now in 2nd place. Meanwhile, Amansan is also advancing, moving up 1 position to take 3rd place. Wayne the Train, piloting the 2018 Ferrari F8 Tributo, is currently in 9th place after starting from 10th position. Their fastest lap time so far is 2 minutes and 1.148 seconds. The car's solid performance keeps them competitive among closely matched counterparts, but they have not yet made notable overtakes since the start of the race. Currently, they are 6/10 behind the driver in 8th place. Davids has gained 1 position and is now in 4th place. Lord of the Jungle has also gained 1 spot, taking 5th place. Aetion 1792 and Amy have moved up 1 position as well, now occupying 6th place. Amundsen has successfully moved up 1 position, now in 2nd place. There's a close fight for 1st place between Amundsen and Kamikaze 38, with Blackmistone 149 also involved. Theory is advancing as well, gaining 1 spot and currently holding 3rd place. Davids has progressed to 2nd place. Lord of the Jungle has advanced to 3rd place. Aetion is 1792, and I have both moved up to 4th place. Davids has advanced to 1st place. Lord of the Jungle is now in 2nd place. Aetion 1792 and Amy have both moved up to 3rd place. Amundsen is currently in 8th place, driving a 2017 Lamborghini Huracan Performante. They started in 5th but have lost positions during the race. The car is known for its powerful V10 engine and excellent aerodynamics, which should enable strong cornering capabilities. However, Amundsen's current lap time of 2 minutes and 2.148 seconds puts them behind competitors in similar car classes. Wayne the Train and Maya have decreased their gap to Kamikaze 38 and Blackmistone 149 by 1.8 seconds. Meanwhile, One Serious Guy and Electric Miri are also narrowing their distance to Bobardo by 2.4 seconds. Tenkaminen 704 is now just 1.5 seconds behind A21 1792, who is also operated by Amy. The battle for position is heating up. Meanwhile, Dufdad and Edelbach are making steady progress towards Rizaldi Adha, cutting their deficit by 1.3 seconds. The dynamics of the race are shifting as these competitors push harder. Lord of the Jungle is now just 1.2 seconds behind Davids, making good progress in the chase. Meanwhile, Tenkaminen 704 is also gaining ground on A21 1792, reducing the gap by 2 seconds. Arayu Serial out Crashtappen are closing in on Tenkaminen 700, and Caswell, cutting the distance by 1.2 seconds. The race is shaping up as positions shift and drivers push their limits. Lord of the Jungle is now just behind FG Thefeds, with the gap down to 1.9 seconds. Temka Main 74 is also making progress on Atuan 1792, decreasing their distance by 1.3 seconds. Meanwhile, Red Panama is closing in on Greninja and Mirasol, cutting the gap by 1.2 seconds. Lord of the Jungle is now just a second behind FK Thefeds. Meanwhile, Tenkamena 704 has reduced the gap to Atuan 1792, getting closer by 2 seconds. The competition is intensifying. Lord of the Jungle is now just 1.3 seconds away from FK Thefeds. Meanwhile, Tenkamena 74 is reducing the gap to Atuan 1792, currently in 6th place, by 1.4 seconds. Wayne the Train along with Maya are both closing in on Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149, decreasing their gap by 1.6 seconds. Lord of the Jungle is now just 2 seconds behind FK Thefeds. Tenkaminen 704 has also made progress, cutting down the gap to Atuan 1792 and me, reducing it by 1.8 seconds. Meanwhile, Wayne the Train alongside Maya is closing in on Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149, with their gap now decreased by 1.6 seconds. Lord of the Jungle is now just over 1 second behind FG Thefeds, making a strong push for an overtake. Tenkaminen 704 is catching Atuan 1792, closing the gap to about 1.5 seconds. Hagod 3 and Bakerjoran have reduced their distance to Elite 403 by 2.8 seconds, indicating they might be planning a coordinated attack soon. Lord of the Jungle is indeed gaining on FG Thefeds, cutting the gap down to a mere 1.2 seconds now. Meanwhile, Tenkaminen 704 is making progress towards Atuan 1792, with the gap contracted to 2.6 seconds. In addition, Dasak 72 is starting to close in on Rizaldi Adha, reducing their distance by 1.5 seconds. The race dynamics are heating up. Red Panama is driving a 2012 Ferrari F12 Berlinale, which features a 6.3-liter V12 engine delivering impressive performance. Currently in 11th place, Red Panama has improved from an initial starting position of 11th, and has recorded a fastest lap of 2 minutes and 2.484 seconds. Their pace appears consistent but not enough to gain significant positions in the race thus far. Wayne the Train and Maya are now just behind Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149, with the gap decreasing to 1.7 seconds. Meanwhile, One Serious Guy and Electric Murray have both advanced one position, now occupying 22nd place. Tenkaminen 704 is currently positioned 4th, and has set the fastest lap. This indicates strong pace, but being further back means they will need to focus on overtaking those ahead to gain positions. With only 13 laps remaining, strategic moves will be crucial for improving their standing. Hey there! Since we have damage disabled, the Ferraris might not need to pit again for repairs, but they could still make a strategic pit stop for fresh tires if they feel like it. Just keep an eye on their performance as we get closer to the end of the race. Jasak 72 has advanced 2 positions, now sitting in 16th place. Duff Dad and Edelbach have also gained 2 spots, currently in 17th place. One Serious Guy and Electric Murray are closing the gap to Babardo, cutting it down by 1.6 seconds. Array Serial and Bot Crash Tappen has significantly closed in on Tenkaminen 7-4, now just 2.5 seconds behind. OQP3 is also making progress, cutting the gap to Amundsen down by 1.9 seconds. Meanwhile, One Serious Guy and Electric Murray are approaching Babardo, reducing their gap by another 1.9 seconds as well. The competition is tightening up as we continue. Tenkaminen 704 is currently in 4th place, and has set the fastest lap with a time of 1 minute 57.812. This performance indicates strong pace as the race enters its final laps, but he needs to make up some positions to challenge for a podium. Given the current standings, consistent performance could allow him to capitalize on any mistakes ahead. Ario Serial and Bot Crash Tappen are now just 1.9 seconds behind Tenkaminen 704. Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 are also making progress, closing the gap to Arayu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen by 2.1 seconds. Meanwhile, Wayne the Train and Maya are reducing the distance to Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 by 1.4 seconds. The competition is tightening up as the race unfolds. Gary Z is now just 6 seconds behind Rizaldi Ada, making steady progress. Lord of the Jungle has reduced the gap to FGAG Fades by 1.4 seconds, signaling potential action in the near future. Arayu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen are also gaining on Tenkaminen 704, with a 1.9 second reduction in their gap. The race dynamics are tightening as these competitors push forward. Ariu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen are making significant progress, now just over 10 seconds behind Tamkamina in 700, after reducing the gap by 3.2 seconds. Meanwhile, Elite 403 is gaining on Red Panama, cutting the distance down by 2 seconds. Katsushuk and Antimaton are also closing in on Hug 3, and Baker Joran, eating away at their lead by 1.2 seconds. The race dynamics continue to evolve as positions tighten up. Lord of the Jungle is now just behind FBK Fatfeeds with a gap of approximately 1.7 seconds. Etiona 1792 and Amy are also making strides, cutting their distance to Lord of the Jungle by 1.2 seconds. Meanwhile, Ariu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen are working to catch up to Tenkamin in 704, closing the gap by 1.2 seconds as well. The race dynamics are shifting rapidly. Ariu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen are now just moments away from Tenkamina 704, having decreased the gap by 2 seconds. Meanwhile, Kamikaze 38 and Black Me Stone 149 are catching up to that duo, closing the distance by 1.8 seconds. Additionally, Green Jeb and Mira Sol have both moved up one position to take 9th place. Tenkaminen in 704 has advanced one position to take 3rd place. Grenangib and Mirasol are closing in on Amunsun, reducing the gap by 1 second. Red Panama has moved up one position to 10th place. Tenkaming 704 has decreased the gap to Lord of the Jungle significantly, now sitting approximately 2.3 seconds behind. Ariu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen have gained one position, now in 4th place. Meanwhile, Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 have also advanced one position, now occupying 5th place. Beck the Feds is now in 8th place after dropping 7 positions. Okioki 3 has significantly decreased the gap to Elite 403 by 17.8 seconds. Meanwhile, Lord of the Jungle has gained momentum, moving up one spot to take the lead in 1st place. Lord of the Jungle has dropped 7 positions, and is now in 8th place. Kenkerman in 704 has made a move to 1st place, advancing 1 position. Ariu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen have both gained 1 position, and are now in 2nd place. Kamikaze 38 and Black Mustone 149 are gaining on Ariu Serial and Bot Crash Tappen, now just a second behind. Kausishok and Antimatone have advanced one position and are now in 13th place. Koki Beninity and Project Ashena are also making progress, closing the gap to Duff Dad and Edelbach by 3.1 seconds. Amundsen has moved up one position to take 4th place. Kausishok and Antimatone are closing in on Okioki 3, reducing the gap by 3.2 seconds. Issy 1212 has also advanced one position to take 14th place. Wayne the Train and Maya have fallen back 6 positions to 11th place. Meanwhile, Greningship has advanced one spot and is now in 5th place, while Mirasol has also moved up by one position to secure 6th place. Befexiads is climbing as well, gaining one spot to take 7th place. Gary Z is now within striking distance of Rizaldi Adha, having reduced the gap to just 5.8 seconds. Duffdad and Edelbach are also making a move on Jasek 72, closing in with a reduction of 1.7 seconds. Meanwhile, Kokibinanti and Project Ashina are steadily approaching Duffdad and Edelbach, decreasing their gap by 2.4 seconds. The race dynamics are shifting as these competitors push for better positions. Lord of the Jungle is now just 1.1 seconds away from FC Kfi, putting pressure on that position. A2 103 is catching up to A2 on 1792 and me, reducing the gap by 2.5 seconds. Meanwhile, Koki Beninity and Project Ashina are closing in on Duffdad and Edelbach, cutting their gap by 1.1 seconds as well. This battle for positions is heating up. Arayu Serial and Bot Crashed Happen have significantly reduced the gap to 10 coming in 7-4. Now just 5.4 seconds behind. Meanwhile, Greninjeb and Nirasol are also making progress, cutting the distance to Amundsen by 7.6 seconds. In another battle, Wayne the Train and Maya are gaining on Elite 403, closing the gap by 5.30 seconds. Greninjeb and Nirasol are consistently closing in on Amundsen, now just 2.2 seconds behind. Lord of the Jungle has gained 1 position and is currently in 6th place. Assetto in 1792 along with Amy is also making progress, reducing their gap to Red Panama by 2.7 seconds. Greninjeb and Nirasol continue to close in on Amundsen, now within striking distance, having reduced the gap by 1.2 seconds. Assetto in 1792 and Amy are also making progress on Red Panama, cutting the deficit by 1.6 seconds. Meanwhile, Hugger 3 and Baker Journey are catching up to Issy 1212, with a gap reduction of 2.7 seconds. Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 are now just 1 second behind Arayu Serial and Bot Crashed Happen, showing strong pace. Lord of the Jungle is gaining on Greninjeb and Nirasol, with the gap down to 1.8 seconds. Aetion 1792 and I'm closing in on Red Panama, now only 2.3 seconds away from that position. Kamikaze 38 and Black Mistone 149 are now just behind Arayu Serial and Bot Crashed Happen, with the gap decreasing by 1.4 seconds. Meanwhile, Greninjeb and Nirasol are also gaining on Amundsen, cutting the gap by 3.4 seconds. Lord of the Jungle is similarly closing in on Greninjeb and Nirasol, reducing that distance by 1.3 seconds. Greninjeb and Nirasol are now 1.2 seconds behind Amundsen, while Lord of the Jungle has reduced the gap to Greninjeb and Nirasol by 1.1 seconds. Aetion 1792 and Amy have decreased the gap to Red Panama by 1.4 seconds. Positions are tightening as the race progresses. Aetion 1792 and Amy are now just 1.2 seconds behind Red Panama, with their pace improving. Meanwhile, Wayne the Train and Maya have reduced the gap to Elite 403 by 1.4 seconds, indicating a strong push. In another battle, Kazushak and Antimatone are closing in on Okioki 3, cutting the gap by 1.2 seconds as well. The competition is heating up across multiple fronts. Gary Z is now just 6.8 seconds behind Rizaldi Adha and Suzanne Greenberg, making significant progress. Grenade and Nira Sol are also gaining on Amundsen, cutting the gap down by 3.7 seconds. Back the Feds is closing in on Lord of the Jungle, reducing that distance by 1.2 seconds. Greninjib and Nira Sol are closing in on Amundsen, now just 3.4 seconds behind. Wayne the Train and Maya are also cutting down the gap to Elite 403 by 1.7 seconds, while Huggard Free and Baker Joran have reduced the distance to IC 12-12-12 by 2.8 seconds. The race is tightening up among these competitors. Greninjib and Nira Sol have successfully reduced the gap to Amundsen by 1.9 seconds. Beck the Feds is making progress as well, cutting down the distance to Lord of the Jungle by 1.6 seconds. Aetion 1792 and Amy are gaining on Red Panama, decreasing their gap by 1.43 seconds. Greninjib and Nira Sol continue to push, now just 2 seconds behind Amundsen, intensifying the battle for 4th place. Aetion 1792 has gained ground, moving up to 8th place while I maintain my position alongside Aetion 1792. The race is heating up in the midfield. Wayne the Train and Maya are now just 1.5 seconds behind Elite 403. Golden Free and Baker Joran have cut their gap to IC 12-12 by 3 seconds. But, meanwhile, Duff Dad and Nagelbach have reduced their distance to Jussac 72 by 1.7 seconds. Aetion 1792 and Amy are now just 2 seconds behind FC Feds after reducing their gap. Wayne the Train and Maya have cut the distance to Elite 403 down to 3 seconds. Huggard 3 and Baker Joran are also gaining on IC 12-12, now only 4 seconds apart. The race is becoming more competitive as these pairs ramp up their pace. Huggard 3 and Baker Joran are now within striking distance of IC 12-12-12, having decreased the gap to 2.3 seconds. Gary Z is also making progress, narrowing the distance to Koki Binity and Project Ashinol by 2.9 seconds. The race is tightening up as these drivers push forward. Serial and Bot Crashtappen are making significant progress, cutting the gap to Tenkaminin 704, down by 3.2 seconds. Aetion 1792 and Amy are also gaining on FC Thiefids, reducing our gap by 1.3 seconds. Meanwhile, Wayne the Train and Maya are closing in on Elite 403 with a reduction of 1.1 seconds. The competition is heating up. Lord of the Jungle is now just 1.5 seconds behind Grinjeb de Nirasol, showing strong pace. Wayne the Train and Maya are also gaining on Elite 403 with a reduced gap of 1.8 seconds. Meanwhile, Haggard 3 and Baker Joran are closing in on ISI 1212 with a significant reduction of 2.3 seconds. The race is tightening up across multiple positions. Lord of the Jungle is now just 2.4 seconds behind Greninja Bionera's Soul, making a significant push. OQQ3 has cut the gap to Wayne the Train, Maya down to 1 second, indicating potential for an overtaking attempt soon. Hugged 3 and Baker Jorane are approaching ISI 1212 as well, with their gap reduced by 2.7 seconds. Congratulations to Tenkamain 704 on the fantastic victory. What an impressive performance on the track.